Hi, it's Paul Anderson, and in this video I'm going to go through the basics of the urinary system. The major organs in the urinary system are going to be the kidneys, and their major role is in waste excretion. They're cleaning our blood, and solid waste from the blood is eventually going to leave our body as urine. Now, in addition to doing that, they also regulate blood volume, blood pressure, blood pH. They regulate important electrolytes and metabolites in our body. The kidneys are incredibly important. Without them, you'll die unless you're hooked up to a kidney dialysis machine. But that's going to require going 3 times a week, 4 to 5 hours a day, hooked up to a machine just to clean your blood. Now, in addition to the kidneys, we also have other parts of the urinary system, including the ureter, the bladder, and the urethra. In males and females, the urinary system is essentially identical, except for the length of the urethra itself. Now, what's the role of the kidney? The role is to produce urine. From there, it's transported to the bladder through the ureters, and then from there it's stored and eventually conducted into the environment. That's how we lose this waste. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what is urine? Well, urine is mostly water, so 90 to 95% of urine is going to be water, but the rest of it is going to be solid waste, both inorganic and organic. Organic waste like urea, uric acid, and inorganics like toxins and certain salts as well. If we look at the structure of the kidney, on the outside we're going to have the renal cortex. Renal simply means kidney. So we've got the outer layer of the kidney, and then on the inside we have the renal medulla. And then on the center we have the renal pelvis. This is going to be a hollow opening, and this is where all the nephrons are going to enter into. They're going to get rid of their urine, and that's eventually going to go through the ureter. Now, if we look inside the kidney itself, we find the whole thing is just filled with blood vessels. Around 20% of cardiac output is going through the kidneys. So that's a massive amount of blood that's going through the kidneys. How does it do that? Well, it comes in through the renal artery, out through the renal vein, but there's a huge amount of surface area inside the kidneys itself. From there, we go into smaller arteries, and then arterioles and capillaries, and then eventually the blood is going to come out. But the important waste excretion is going to take place as we get to those center blood vessels. So let's zoom into that, and let's zoom into the functional unit of the kidney, which is going to be the nephron. So if we look at where these blood vessels are found, blood's going to flow into the nephron through the afferent arteriole, and then it goes into the glomerulus, or the glomerular capillaries. At this point, you essentially have a dead end. The blood is flowing in, and it comes to a dead end. That dead end is inside something called the Bowman's capsule. At this point, we're going to have filtration occurring. A lot of that blood plasma is squirting out of the capillary, and it's eventually going to move into the urinary system. From there, the blood goes through the afferent arteriole. And so at this point, we've got filtration taking place. This is where we're actually filtering